So here's an interesting story. You know, you've been hearing about the Chipotle restaurants, this E. coli breaking out only at Chipotle restaurants, and they're shutting stores down, and people are getting sick. And it's like, why, how, whatever, is it just Chipotle? This doesn't make sense, right? So I read some stuff from time to time, fairly frequently, I should say, from naturalnews.com. They usually post pretty worthy stuff. You know, it's not super, oh my God, conspiracy, oh, come on. It's, you know, legitimately looked into, researched by them. They post a story. So I don't hold anything negative towards Natural News. I think they do a good job at covering stuff, for sure. Having said that, I don't know that what I'm about to read you from their site is in fact what they are, you know, stating that is a possibility. So their title is An Analysis. Chipotle is a victim of corporate sabotage. Biotech industry food terrorists are planting E. coli in retaliation for restaurants' anti-GMO menu. Natural News. After observing recent events involving Chipotle and E. coli, here's my analysis of the situation. Chipotle's E. coli outbreaks are not random chance. They are the result of the biotech industry unleashing bioterrorism attacks against the only fast food company that has publicly denounced GMOs. So I'm going to stop for a second. Based on that one paragraph, he's saying this can't be by random chance. Because why? It's only Chipotle. And if he's right, which he says here, the only fast food company that has publicly denounced GMOs. We don't want GMOs. We don't use GMOs. Come to our restaurant. So that's a far off in the, you know, by itself in the field restaurant compared to everyone else. And they're the ones getting hit by this over and over again. It almost makes me think, are they trying to say, hey, see, you should be using those GMO foods because we don't get Ebola with our GMO stuff like you do. Again, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say that I accept this story, believe this story 100% and anything like that. I do find it interesting, it making me think there's always the possibility. You know, and as I read this, like what I just read you, that's kind of where my mind goes, like, Again, you got to take your emotions and that stuff out of it and just say, just show me the math. What's the probability with all these tons of restaurants out there? This one over here. Anything extraordinary about them? Yes, they use fresh foods that are not GMO. Okay, that's a big one. Now they're really standing out. So, you know, it's possible. How do we know, he says? The CDC has already admitted that some of these E. coli outbreaks involve a rare genetic strain of E. coli not normally seen in foods. Furthermore, we also know the track record of the biotech industry engaging in the most criminal, dirty, sleazebag tactics imaginable against any person or company that speaks out against GMOs. Dr. Oz, for example, was maliciously targeted in a defamation campaign funded by the biotech industry earlier this year. The onslaught of Dr. Oz was initiated because he publicly expressed his support for honest GMO labeling on our foods. As the attacks escalated, Dr. Oz had his own team investigate the source of the attacks and found they were all biotech industry shills, which he links here, or they, whoever he or she links here, some with felony criminal records and long histories of dubious propaganda activities targeting anti-GMO activists. So I'm going to right-click that for a second, open it, that link. And it's another link to Natural News, but it's from April 23rd, 2015. So this is, you know, way early on in the year. And it says the contrived attacks on Dr. Oz backfired in spectacular fashion today as he took to the air to expose the convicted felons, frauds, and hucksters, all doctors operating as corporate frontmen who tried to silence him. To confront the vicious attempts at defamation and slander against him, Dr. Oz invited celebrated integrative medicine expert Dr. Joel Fuhrman to appear on his show. And for background, Dr. Fuhrman earns a big thumbs up from Natural News for his passionate advocacy of holistic healing modalities and disease prevention expertise. Natural News was the first news organization to expose the sleazy biotech industry front group behind the attacks on Oz. Yesterday, Dr. Bob Arnott further supported our story in a CNN video report, relating that the attack on Oz was fabricated by, quote, industry henchmen who were attacking Oz over his advocacy of GMO labeling. So it even made it to CNN of all places, right? So back to the original story. And now that that's there and you have some more proof, and I have more proof because I haven't even read this. I saw the title, sent it to myself, do a video on this. So I'm reading this for the first time. So now that you read that, which goes to the CNN link, that there were some sleazebags doing this, is it now all of a sudden a far stretch of the imagination that they would do something so disturbing? You may think so. Well, I'm a Christian, and Christian, there's no way other human beings can't do that. Yeah, actually they can, and they do. Anything for that profit. If you threaten their industry, as rotten as the industry may be, that's their livelihood. A lot of people in that club. We can't have no Dr. Oz or anybody else telling the people about GMO labeling. You know, we don't want to show that these are genetically modified foods on these canned goods or whatever. So, is it any, again, stretch of the imagination to think that they might do something like this? So, GMO industry routinely resorts to tactics that resemble terrorism or criminal mafias. That's the headline of his next piece of this article. As a clean food advocate myself, I know firsthand of the malicious tactics used by these biotech mafia operations, including tactics of intimidation and terrorism, such as calling in bomb threats to locations where clean food activists are about to speak. There is absolutely no question that the biotech industry will resort to any activity necessary to destroy food companies that oppose GMOs. And yes, this includes acts of bioterrorism against Chipotle, something that's ridiculously easy for biotech industry operatives to carry out with simple, low-cost laboratory supplies sold online at places like Amazon.com. In my HealthRangerReport.com podcast shown below, I am now openly encouraging Chipotle's management to initiate a criminal investigation with the FBI to attempt to identify the sources of this corporate sabotage campaign. To be clear, what's really happening at Chipotle is that biotech industry shills are deliberately contaminating Chipotle's food with strains of E. coli in a malicious attempt to destroy both the reputation and finances of the Chipotle food chain. Now again, this is his article. He's claiming this, not me. I'm just reading it to you because this is definitely very interesting. So I will continue. This act of bioterrorism is entirely consistent with the known behavior patterns of the biotech industry, which, for example, engaged in illegal money laundering in Washington state in order to destroy the GMO labeling bill there. The biotech industry not only sells deadly glyphosate herbicide poison that destroys human health and contaminates ecosystems, it also uses its dirty money to financially influence academics, journalists, and lawmakers. Those individuals who don't fall into line with the biotech agenda are then treated to intense campaigns of defamation, slander, intimidation, and threats to try to silence or discredit them. And when that doesn't work, which in this case hasn't, biotech industry operatives will literally engage in acts of terrorism, like we're seeing right now with Chipotle. To understand the biotech industry, you have to first understand that these are truly evil people who have no ethical boundaries whatsoever. This is what I was just saying. Again, I haven't even read this yet. This first time. It's exactly what I just said. Profit supersedes any damn thing. Anything. Profits come first. Health, ecosystem, environment, animals, plants, humans, anything means nothing. Profits come first. And if anyone stands in the way of those profits, like exposing that their ways of getting those profits are like illegal or fraudulent, must silence that person. Oh, you're going to harm our industry by supporting a GMO labeling bill? Boom. Defamation. slander. Oh, that didn't work? Guess we got to up the ante. I mean, that's essentially what he's saying. So you have to first understand that these are truly evil people who have no ethical boundaries whatsoever. They will target and destroy any person, any institution, or any public company that they see as standing in their way of total world domination over the seed supply, genetically modified seeds, right? You got to pay for them each time you want them. You can't regrow them. You got to go back to the pusher. Hey, the pusher, I need some more seeds, man. I need my fix. Oh, here you go. Man, these used to be fairly cheap. Now they're expensive. Well, that's because we cornered the market. You want to grow those crops, don't you? Yep. Got to pay for our seeds. That's how that works. The idea that exists, exposing the public to E. coli might be harmful to some people doesn't cause them to hesitate for even a moment. The more people get sick or die from their Chipotle operation, the better for the biotech industry. That is the end of his article. So, it's a hell of an accusation. But man, he's got, it was a he, so it was Mike Adams that wrote this, the Health Ranger from naturalnews.com. Like I said, I've read a lot of stuff over the last few years from naturalnews.com. And I don't think I've ever been there and felt like, oh, come on, this is really big time conspiracy. Like, this is way out there. No, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm with you on that. That makes sense. Yep, here's his proof. Okay, there's a link. Yep. And he did the same thing here. Link to this article. We covered it back in April. And from there, CNN even reported we were right. Not necessarily the corporate sabotage part, because that didn't happen yet. But them trying to slander Dr. Oz and, libel, all that stuff. And he won. He busted back out of it. So, my hat's off to Natural News for doing a good job and covering this stuff. And if I can get this information in front of other people, of course you can decide on your own whether you believe it or not. I'm just your storyteller reader guy. It's bedtime story for the JSNIP 4 subscribers. And here's your bedtime story. Except it's not while it may sound like a fantasy bedtime story, fake. A lot of the stuff's actually real. Wow, isn't that crazy? I thought he was reading me a fictional story. No, actually, old JSNIP 4 prefers nonfiction. Believe that or not. And you may not believe that that's true because of this stuff I talk about all the time. It's really happening. I have stuff to read all the time. Like I said multiple times. When I first started doing these videos, I had to go look for stuff to discuss. And I wasn't doing videos every day. Every few days maybe. Then it turned into every couple of days. And then, okay, I've got, finally I can do a video every day now. Wow. And I used to never do the weekends. Just Monday through Friday only. And now it's to the point I could do 2 to 3 a day, including the weekends. I could do 2 to 3 videos every single day, which you see now, I'd usually do 2 now. Every great once in a while, I'll do it. Okay, I got to get a third one out today. I need to really get this out there, whatever. And I'll put a third one out. And I realized, I'm holding myself back, back down a little bit. I don't want to bombard people with so much of the crap that's happening out there that you say, oh, another JSNIP 4 video, I don't know if I can take it. So I don't want that. I want people to stay informed, so I cap myself. Find the best of the stuff that you'd like to do videos on, in my own opinion. And, okay, I've got 5. Take those 3 out. Now you got 2 for tomorrow. Do those 2. I mean, that's how much stuff's happening. It's unbelievable. So, that's it, take care.